Hello and welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and internet nerds transcend geography through the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons, and critically fumble a lot, and still have problems with cameras and Discord and things. The Cupcake Coterie are heading for, I was gonna say home, but honestly, it's now the origin point for less than half the party, which is kind of neat okay, we've spread out globally, and I don't really know how that happened, but fuck it, I'm just gonna go with it kind of way. Um, yeah, they've been roaming around the country of Equitas as run by five ancient metallic dragons known collectively as the Five Claws of Bahamut for the last couple of months or so now. Um, as much to collect the components that they needed for a dragon slaying weapon as to be crafted by the one steel singer anyone actually knows anything about, who thankfully, coincidentally, lives in Hazel's hometown. Of course, they have to now get back there after 2 months of roaming around, causing various bits of trouble and aggravation, waking up a Draco Lich, uh, kicking off something in and around a temple to Tiamat, and spending an awful lot of time shopping, experiencing local flavor of various types, getting riotously drunk a time or four, and adopting, among other things, a small plushy Toller retriever named Butterscotch, an Azamar named Alice, and a long dead silver dragon-born little girl who's still poking her snout in everything and is still a little bit weirded out by the fact that her baby brother is now like 16 years older than her. But she's coping, mostly by poking her snout in everything, up to and including the contents of the cargo train they are on, traversing the very extensive mountain range slash cliff face that separates Equitas from Baronsvere, which they're taking as a sort of a quick overnight jaunt to at least get them over the border. So, you guys turned up on the train little after dinner, so sun was about going down. Thankfully for Ava, who's about as good with high speed as she is with height, as is to say, not very, um, it's difficult to actually tell how fast you're moving because once you get to a certain point, you're in the mountain and you can't see anything through the windows. The ride is thankfully smooth enough that you only get a little bit of sense that you're moving and no real indication of how fast you're moving. Group loses track of Faraday almost immediately because she's reading the bits on the cargo crates in various of the cars, trying to figure out what's going where.
Um,
And Flitty is just, I'll keep an eye on her.
Thank you. Good. I'm glad that she wandered off.
You've got Alice looking at you going, you're glad that the little
Yeah, it is
dragonborn,
frowning a little.
the little dragonborn is wandering off more or less on her own when she's got the curiosity for like 6 dragonborn first size, and the only hope is that she's also inherited his common sense, or he inherited hers. I don't know.
It's complicated.
That she inherited as much as he did.
There you go. That one works.
Maybe.
And I trust Flitty to keep an eye on her.
Okay.
That doesn't explain why you're glad she
Can I get to it?
Sorry.
Hey, it's about time you got interrupted for a change.
Fair. That's part of what I'm want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Carry on then.
Oh.
Yeah, she's trying to work out her camera issues, I think.
Okay, I'll give it a second.
Here I am. I should be.
Okay, so I've been actually thinking. I know you're shocked.
Kinda, yeah.
I was gonna say it.
He said
You've
it. He said it, so we don't have to. But let's let him carry on.
Let him speak.
Yeah, we're getting there, but he deserves a tiny bit of sibling mockery, just a little bit. Okay, we're done now. Okay, it's cool.
ever since the riddle event, I guess, since it wasn't really a contest per se, um, that kind of got things moving. Calatel flagged up that I approached it in the wrong fashion. Well, that got me thinking, what else have I been approaching in the wrong fashion? And I realized, the last couple of months at least, pretty much everything. Um, I got so caught up in the immediate and what we were and the spectacle of a lot of stuff and stumbling over everything. I've just been approaching all of this completely the wrong way.
May I, just to shorten things a little for you? You
Hmm.
focused on the Bard part of College of Lore Bard and didn't focus on maybe the lore part
Yep.
of College of Lore Bard?
Yep, that's base. I was about to say exactly that. Yes. um, sorry, I know it's a little all over the place. This is a pretty big.
Sea change?
Epiphany?
That's the word.
Epiphany?
I knew there was a nautical metaphor in there somewhere, and I couldn't find it. Thank you.
Well, I think both of us have got it, really, and both those probably kind of mishmashed in your head. And I think that's actually where you're coming from. There's a lot of information that, from what I understand of College of Lore Bards, you're supposed to not just impart, but collect, because if you don't collect it, you can't impart it.
Exactly. And I mean, and I'm sitting here going, we were just in an area run by dragons. Okay, yes, I know it's not the ones we're having to deal with. Literally,
But they had a
but
black dragon running the place. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Uh-oh.
Am I
Yeah.
missing something?
If
I
we
completely screwed that up.
if we'd asked what the dragon that ran it's black dragons, and while each is individual like every sentient being, they still follow a certain pattern. If we'd been able if we'd thought to ask what it was like under the rule of that black dragon, we might have some idea of what we're about to walk into.
Exactly.
see.
Which is exactly what I was about to say. Thanks.
Sorry.
That's fair.
I'm
I mean, the other thing. Well, you illustrate exactly the other point that I want to make,
okay.
and that is
Now I'm completely lost.
and that is, I freely admit I'm trying, but I'm not one for coming up with a plan. What I should be doing, what I can do, what I am good at is getting the information that I can bring to all of us. So the ones with more sense, Alice, Froseth, Hazel, as examples, Remy, as
Look at
examples.
Hazel.
Hey,
She's-
Hazel's been doing pretty good.
She has actually. She's been putting her foot in it less than Darvin has.
My point.
I don't
I can bring that information to all of us, and collectively we can figure out what to do. And then when we do have a course of action, I can, well, for lack of a better way to put it, orchestrate it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we've all. I mean, I know some of you are looking a little askance at things, but we've all got our strengths, which, if we put them together and let Darvin compile them or help us compile them,
Yeah.
then we can work things out. Froseth is a long game player. He watches people. He can collect the kind of information that some of us can't. He's always turned around and pulled out of nowhere. Maybe we should talk to that person over there. I don't know entirely why. I have a suspicion. I worked for somebody who was really creepy about that, but anyway. Hazel, for all her flailiness, and now that she's tempering it a little bit, it's getting better, is good at approaching the common person. when she chills, she's very much straightforward and kind. And if you can find the people that respond to that, then great. Remy's a tactician. I mean, she. If we ever encounter anything that looks remotely like a Merc company, a city guard, anything like that, she's bound to have some clue of how to approach it, and she can speak to military people. I've got my own set of skills. I'll let you guys decide what the hell they are because I'm too close to it. Ava's probably going to be a lot better at dealing with nobility than any of us have been thus far. And Nye, while he's still working out his own strengths, he's got to be at least some kind of decent negotiator. I mean, I'm sorry if you've managed to negotiate with two archfey and come out maybe not entirely on top, but certainly
Alive.
with some added bonuses.
I'm still trying to figure out how to handle this next bit with them. But
Well,
I'm trying, Lord and Lady. I really am. Doing my best.
And-
just as a DM aside, you haven't felt quite the glaring so much. It's possible that it's just they're still arguing, but
He's still remembering that when you get a moment by yourself to speak more freely, say something to us. So he's working on that in the back of his head.
okay.
But anyway, the fact that I completely dropped the ball when and I'm at a bit of a loss as to how to remedy that in the immediate, given that we're kind of on a train, there really isn't much I can do. But I wanted to bring it to you guys, maybe if you had any ideas of how we could
At this point,
fix it
we
once we
can't.
get.
I don't think we're going to be able to. We've left the sources of information that we could have mined behind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, I've heard bare snippets at best of. I mean, I worked in an establishment full of philosophers, historians, uh, archaeologists. That's the word. Uh, People who have looked up the history, and I've maybe heard snippets, but nothing that's. It's possible that if it's bad enough, we might have to go straight back. But I don't know. I don't have enough
Mm-hmm.
solid information. And we don't have. Sorry, what?
Would Ava have anything about that? Because she would
No.
have looked into it now.
No, because Baronsvere has always been a very insular country, and Equitas doesn't talk to Baronsvere. Baronsvere has cut almost all ties to Equitas beyond the under the table ones that you guys are using now. That's not a part of the history that a Baronsvere noble would have studied, or I would have been asking Darwin to make a roll to. It is something that I thought of, but no, unfortunately, Baronsvere is podunk little country that has deliberately cut ties with Equitas for a couple of generations now, at minimum.
Well, anyway, it
Point.
was.
You go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
I just these are the things that were on my mind. I just wanted to bring them to everybody and see what.
I think the thing I'm wondering is why in that given situation it's so important that Faraday wandered off. I mean, yeah, okay, there's some creepy shit going on, but she's gonna find out about it anyway. And these are the kinds of life lessons that if you learn them when you're small, maybe don't cause issues later on. I mean, let's face
Well,
it, if that kid doesn't grow up to be an adventurer in a decade or so, then, I'll eat your boots.
If I don't eat them first, I didn't know. I didn't know how into everything going on we were going to actually start discussing. So I didn't want to run the. We're dealing with some pretty big, heavy stuff, and she's in a she's just in an like just curious and exploring everything and happy. And I just wanted to let that continue for just a little bit longer.
Fair. It's
Yeah, she's been through a lot already.
yeah, but at the same time, I don't know about her. But if it were me, I think I'd want warning before I come up against a wall like the one we might be looking at.
Yeah, that's true.
But
Point.
we're not gonna sit her down and explain how bad it is. She'll know just from looking at us. But I guess I kind of thought, I mean, it doesn't matter either way. Either way has its pluses and its minuses. But that small, I think I'd be happy if the grown-ups, I have to put that in quotes with some of us, I'm sorry, but I do, uh,
Fair.
have a plan or at least something that approximates one.
Right.
And we do. We are going to go to Gray's Inn, which, if I remember right, has a certain amount of informant about it. That's part of why they've got the connections they do.
Mm.
They might be able to give us some kind of indication of what the lay of the land is. I'm assuming, Hazel, that you haven't heard from your your mothers.
Not a word so far.
Okay, that could be good or that could be bad. As on the one hand, they might not want to waste the magical energy or send a letter that you might not be in the same place to receive, or she might not be able. They might not be able to.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. And unless we've got anybody who can reliably scry out the way of the land in the lay of the land in anything that's going to give us some kind of indication, then all we can do is turn up and see how we go.
Yep.
And Darvin's probably glancing at Froseth.
Yes, actually, that. Sorry, I.
You have to say, remember, because you don't know, because you look like you're looking at noms from our perspective,
Oh,
or
sorry.
mine
Yeah,
anyway.
Darwin. I'm still, even now, even as long as we've been going, I still am not 100% used to the whole camera, doing it on camera, because my
Anyway.
brain immediately goes to meat space. Anyway, so yeah, Darwin's like pointedly, like not staring, but like glance, glance.
Alice isn't making any kind of assumptions because she doesn't know how his shit works, which is why she just flagged it up as a thing without pointing it at any particular person. This is why she out diplomats you.
Well, some of it is also just Darwin and Process have known each other for so long. It's both and hey so it's a little more like it's a little more like hey poke poke, poke like that type of thing. It's it's like the glance equivalent of like poke poke Bob drunk.
I mean, it's worth giving a try.
Yeah, well, I mean, in any case, this sort of thing is not going to solve itself.
No, but sorry, Process is saying a thing. Is this something that you think you can do?
Maybe.
Okay. Well,
I haven't done it very often, but it's worth trying.
as a DM reminder, your best bet in this case would probably be Earth because it's home.
Yeah.
Give me a straight up wisdom check.
$20. Not natural, but
Yeah, well, it's
Still good.
Still good. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Hey, Ava. Mm, sorry, out of character. Marion, the when in roll 20, there if you in the lower right hand of the screen, that little name switch menu bar thing,
Yeah.
Take a look at your picture when you switch it over to Ava.
What about it?
It changes to your characters.
Oh, right.
Generally, I just have the names visible, but I have the pictures visible enough to verify it switched, and then I turn back off so I can see more of the map.
I just switched my profile picture over since I only played the one game.
Oh yeah.
Mm. It's hoping what we see is positive, am I right?
Sorry?
Here's hoping what Froseth gets is positive, am I right?
Mm.
And Froseth settles in meditative posture for a few minutes, and I'll say probably nudges people just a little bit aside if they actually want to be talking, because I don't know how much focus this takes. Not my remit. So not my remit.
Well, whether it's positive, or not, we still need to know it.
Well, yeah.
That's why he's doing it. I don't imagine it's pleasant. Especially if Darvin happened to mention when he was telling me the story of all this, doesn't she sense that he's watching even if she doesn't know where he is?
Yep.
Well, at least the elements shield him that far.
Do we have anything else? Because
Well, let's work it one stage at a time, Hazel. Let's we can build on what, if anything, he gives us.
Yep.
But this was kind of exactly what I was talking about. You had the thought to bring up just scrying, which for whatever reason wasn't occurring to me. So that's thank you.
Well, we wouldn't have had to if either of us had thought to ask about the history.
Right.
I mean, you were in the world's biggest library. Or one of them. I don't know what the Silver Vault looks like, so I never went that far into Demille.
We may have to go quick.
I don't know. It depends on what he sees, and we're gonna have to get some first-hand information either way.
Yeah.
From what little I know of that whole divination thing, doesn't it get kind of vague most of the time?
Yeah, vague, hazy, roundabout. Very, very, very.
Very big on imagery, usually.
Yeah, and not big on direct answers. I mean, I get it. The future is.
mutable.
This isn't the future.
Thank you. That's the word.
Yeah,
Well,
but this isn't the future. This is
true.
This is trying to encompass a lot of stuff that's going on in a simple image.
True.
Well, I'm not sure how well it would show on Froseth, but if he could go like pale.
I've seen Dragonborn before, and it's difficult with silver. But dude, are you okay? That would be a no.
No.
Oh God. Oh,
I'm
God.
I'm gonna make some tea. Give me a sec. I'm assuming this is in that little sort of galley area, so just finding something that makes that does hot water. How bad?
Pretty bad. Um, let's see. How to describe it?
I would not pull punches, my dude.
Yeah. I'm gonna have more of a meltdown if I know less than if I know all of it at this.
Well, I saw a farmer's field trampled by a lot of booted feet, something with claws, a fallen scarecrow. Uh, on the scarecrow was a tin breastplate.
You actually recognize those. The scarecrows at Hearthhome are decorated like paladins, and before you guys left the last time, one of them had become a little paladin Bahamut.
Yeah, had the symbol of Bahamut on it, and it was pierced by a sword. And, well, Tiamat once again whispering, "Welcome home."
Did you see anyone else?
Doesn't sound like he saw anybody.
I didn't see anyone.
Aftermath.
Eva just puts a hand on Hazel's shoulder.
Oh. Okay, here's something we didn't think. If the king of Baronsvere is a dragon that worships Tiamat, anybody who openly starts following Bahamut is they'd have a reason
They'd have
to
a big red target.
they'd have a very good reason to be basically viewed as a heretic. Not even just a traitor, but because they couldn't say that if no one knows, but a heretic. Given the temples to Tiamat, that should have been a flag.
I'm reminded that you guys said we had an opportunity at the library. We had more than one, I think. Clarity's researching the library. Do we still have her notes?
Wait, didn't she? No, because hang on, didn't you guys? From what I remember, you guys didn't have time to get notes from her first couple of weeks, and she hadn't reached the library until then. And what Darwin was saying wasn't she more looking up mysterious disappearances? From what I remember, you never asked about the history of what happens when a black dragon's ruling. We only just thought about that now.
Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking, what else could we even think to look at?
Right now, we need to deal with one thing at a time, and what we need to deal with now is what we're going to find at the end of this train ride.
Got it.
A lot of booted feet. A lot of booted feet and something with claws.
Well, I don't know about the claws, but the booted feet sounds like guards or soldiers. Troops of some sort.
I hate to suggest this, but does Tiamat have any effect on the undead?
I don't think so, but that black shit does, but that's not what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is, army plus things with claws, for me, says wyvern riders.
Yay.
It's a... Demille's got some... I'm pretty sure Ambier's got a couple. but
Owns the dead.
it's an elite force, airborne.
Things that a
Literally
dragon
they
would ride.
ride wyverns.
Oh,
Come on. You have a good brain in there.
You alright, Hazel?
No. Maybe I will be.
Hey,
When we
they
find out
know
more.
they know how to take care of themselves.
I'm thinking about the family as you've mentioned them. I hate to think that anyone would be low enough to do anything to a 6-year-old, but if she's the primary Bahamut worshipper, then that's something to think about.
6-year-old?
Skylar, the
Skylar, yeah,
the
she's
how
six.
Yeah,
yeah, she's 6.
yeah, no, but worship of Bahamut at that age?
She, according to Darvin's stories, because he told me the whole thing on our first jaunt out. Apparently, she took one look at Froseth and decided dragons were it. Maybe Bahamut spoke to her. I don't know, but
Alright.
apparently she's the first non-dragonborn to actively follow Bahamut in a very long time.
Well, if that came out, that might.
Well, how was she supposed to know she's supposed to keep it a secret?
No, of
Bahamut's a
course
good
not.
god.
Yeah,
I know. I'm not blaming her in any way.
No, I'm more expressing frustration at the situation and thinking about what else. Darwin also said that before they managed to get the Baron Langerhand to step in, he was kind of the Goldendale was kind of off on magic.
Yeah.
That makes it an issue for Twilla. You also said that there was a tiefling boy who had been taken for a sacrifice.
yeah, Candor.
And if they're going for heresy,
Mm-hmm.
demon child, and isn't there a half orc, the oldest of them, who's kind of very much I will protect the homestead with my life?
Mm-hmm.
What would he do if any of his little ones are under threat? Or his mom?
He'd pull a me at minimum.
Yeah, Kath.
We have to assume that at least they are having some issues, and I don't know enough about the rest of them to know what they do.
Hmm.
How long till we get there?
From what I recall, it will be there around about breakfast time. But then then depending on how we're getting from Gray's Inn to Goldendale, they said something about what 9-10 days.
By cart, yeah.
But
we
weren't
could
there other stops, like because I mean you had to stop in places that if you hadn't had to stop at them, you might have proceeded a bit further on. The Sullivan plantation,
Mm-hmm.
I think
That's
was the
true.
main one.
That's right. Well, and there was a few forced stops, a couple.
And the one thing we had to do before being allowed to take the train.
That took some time too, yeah.
That involved going down.
Yeah, but didn't it leave at dinner time the same day? So there's only one train per day. Either,
Right.
Yeah,
basically,
just-
from what I'm seeing, it basically starts in it's sort of a couple of days affair. So you've got kind of it starts in Bellarise, it heads back to Gray's Inn, it gets there around breakfast, it leaves at dinner time, it winds up in back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Anyway, point is that at least we've got some idea. It sounds like the Iron Crown military is moving.
I think that's good or bad.
Iron
That's the
Crown,
worst.
Iron Crown, it's Black Crown now, isn't it? It's,
Mm-hmm.
that's the ruling seat. That's the dragon.
What's
So
his
bad.
personal bootlickers?
And if they're pulling out Wyvern Riders, they're getting less interested in hiding the draconic influence.
Seems like
Yeah, if they've just decided screw sneaking around, then we're gonna have a whole time. I'm gonna need a minute. Excuse me. And I'm going to head a little ways away and just pray.
Um, Give me a minute, guys. You might want to shield your eyes. It's a bit dim in here. And that she does the wings, her wings, and after a moment's focus, she retrieves a glowing half of their feather and hands it to Hazel as a focus, as an offering.
Thanks.
So yeah, these are going to be there for a minute. Sorry.
at this point, even Darvin's like reached back, pulled out the viol to just hold it, and he's sort of rubbing the symbol of Palor that's still on it, as like a touchstone almost.
Ava's rubbing her fingers along the hilt of the father's sword.
Alice just sort of stands in the best position she can so that for the minute her wings are engaged, they're kind of sheltering as many of you as possible. And once they fade, she hands Froseth his cup of tea. We can't do anything about it until we know more. If we sit and focus on it too much, we're going to paint worst case scenarios in our heads and make it impossible for us to get the rest we need to handle what's actually there. Teapot's over there. It's a calming sort of blend. Grab a cup. I'll go get Farida and get her tucked in for the night. You guys do the same.
You're right, we need our rest.
And pats Darwin a bit on the shoulder. If it helps, I'm learning more how to be a bard from you than just what not to do. Okay?
Yeah.
He gives him another pat on the shoulder.
I mean, to be fair, I'm still pretty new at this, so you know.
You have, like I said, you have a brain. You just haven't had to use it as much.
Yeah,
It's
this whole
It's time to start.
Mm.
Playtime's
definitely.
over, dude.
And
She
he'll get up.
she refrains from mentioning that playtime actually ended a few months ago, but you know.
Yeah, he's already well aware of that.
Why
And
she's
his-
not saying it.
Yeah, well, that's why he was like, I don't know what to do about it now. So, anybody got any ideas? And hence it's a start. It's a start. We know a little more than we did. What we know isn't good, but I wasn't expecting it to be. So, okay, yeah, okay. And he gets up, goes to make some tea himself.
Well, the tea's already made. She just made a pot.
Oh, okay. So I'll just get some.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't make the trip to Equitas on this train, the beds are actually more sort of bunk bed hammock affairs, and Faraday is actually kind of chuffed at the idea of A, being able to share a room with Froseth again, and B, having the top bunk. She just curls up like she's in the egg and.
Although him getting in his TA goes up to him to get some of himself, and he looks at him.
Sorry, broke up a little bit there.
None of that was your fault. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm good. Just give me a minute.
Just squeeze his shoulder.
He's basically just holding the cup of tea in his hand and just concentrating on, like, warm, just all about the tea right now, just trying to clear everything away but that. Because otherwise he ain't going to sleep. He's just.
She always did make you feel better, you as children, remember?
I'll be all right.
I'm here, you know, if you need me.
Thank you.
Grab the own cup and give him a little space.
Yeah. I'll eventually curl up and go to sleep, I guess.
I'm gonna finish prayers, however long that takes. Tea, and I'm crashing out after downing it. After downing.
As Amy falls asleep, she's going to do a bit of an awkward prayer because she's never done it, but like, please, pay Lord, if you hear me, just let them be okay, something like that. Really.
Okay, so everybody apart from the individual who trances more than sleeps crashes out for.
And
for the
even
night.
then, I usually start trancing when everyone goes to sleep, and I wake up early. Now I'm sitting there for a while before I can trance.
Yeah, Remy prays, sees if any guidance will come, and clocks out.
From weirdly, for all of the people praying to Palor, it's Tritherian that doesn't say much, doesn't give anything helpful, but there is definitely a sense that retribution will be required. Yeah, a very much a sense of be ready. This is where you need to be in your capacity as vowed to me. A little bit of a sense of probably the other one too, but me mostly this time. It's I know it sounds funny, but it's probably a little bit disturbing that this god actually feeling kind of frustrated with you and the situation. You don't want a god frustrated at you. I mean, accepting, but you can already see the start of at least this isn't conflicting, but still I have to actually think about this. You were supposed to be vowed to me, but fine, okay. Go forth, retribution.
That's fair.
Okay. Is Nai going to try to have his word with his patrons?
Thinking about it, he's going to hopefully come out of trance before anyone else is awake.
Oh yeah, because, well, 4 hours versus 8, and they've had a rough time of it in general. I mean, so have you, but...
Out of character, it would really help if I had some idea what he said the first time around. The
Well,
wording of the original oath.
In this case, he actually gets approached, as it were, before he can say a word. Oh, my champion, you are in a bit of a predicament, and so are your friends, aren't they?
My friends and those they care about, yeah.
Well, for whatever my husband has to say about the matter, I personally feel like if you're forgetting us, which is understandable in a mortal sort of way, if we want to make sure you remember us, I personally feel that you should remember us as benevolent rather than threatening. He may approach at some point with something entirely different, but what he doesn't know won't hurt us, will it? I'm given to understand that you're supposed to be meeting someone on the other side of this conveyance ride you're on.
Oh?
I do pay attention. You will remember, your intelligence is not that bad. You will remember that Calatiel did say that there would be someone to take you to Goldendale from there, but it was probably going to be the cart rather than...
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant
It's...
me personally rather than the group.
No, unfortunately, while my husband does keep his promises, you're not there yet. However, once you've met this individual, because it's rude to just leave people hanging and it might worry someone, would it be useful to be able to skip some of that tedious traveling business?
It would certainly be both useful and welcome.
Oh, we'll have to discuss what hopefully less detrimental boon can be offered in exchange later. Uh, from behind you comes a pale, well-manicured hand and drops a carved leaf into your lap. And it's a perfect representation of an oak leaf, but carved in wood. It doesn't even seem to be painted, but it's still a living shade of green.
Wrong color, but
Touch it to your lips, and well, at least ponder the nature of your patrons and your service, and it should take you to where you need to go. Be well, my champion, and get this little bit of business sorted out. It serves our interests. And then the feeling is that he is alone.
before I could even say thank you.
Morning comes. Furseth probably wakes up because Faraday is the first one out, and it's just eep, ow. Okay, I didn't know anything about bunk beds. That was sorry. I'm gonna go look at the kitchen place. Hey, you guys hear little dragonborn claws clack 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 clack, clack across the. Kid's got energy to spare.
Huh? Oh, that was. Oh, okay. That was a sound I'm not familiar with at first. Okay, now that's what that sounds like. Okay, cool.
Piping up. There's this black sludge that smells like too much coffee. And yeah, you can smell that really strong coffee they had on the train the last time. I'm
Carver has
not.
it.
I'm not gonna drink it. I promise.
Darwin has a brief moment of like when he hears black sludge, he thinks,
Yeah,
and then you realize, then he smells the coffee and was like, okay, different sludge.
yeah, I had the same thought. Black sludge. Wait, what?
Oh,
That's bad.
Just
oh.
kind of meets Darvin's eyes and nods.
I think we're alright.
Does anybody else want the too much coffee stuff?
A little bit, yes.
Probably need it.
Yeah, Alisea is just, thanks, kid. Chug.
Did Ava sense anything when she prayed to Palor?
Not particularly. She's not got that kind of connection to the gods. The reason that Remy gets a sense of anything is because she is, well, A, she's a paladin, and B, she is a Oath of the Celestial Warlock. So, one way or another, no matter who she prays to, she's going to get somebody's attention. Hazel just, incidentally, Hazel just got a sort of a comforting feeling in a sort of a it looks bad now, but always darkest before the dawn kind of a situation. Because she is a cleric of Palor, and there is very much that connection. Furseth gets his visions because he's connected to the elements, and Alisea has a certain relationship with the gods just because of her birthright. The rest of you, as far as gods are concerned, meh.
No, but Darvin's seen some stuff that's made him kind of go
Yeah.
enough
Well,
to
no.
make.
What I mean is that because that connection hasn't
right.
been cemented through oath or
Gotcha.
any kind of class-based or in Alice's case race-based situation, that connection doesn't exist. You haven't made that link through bloodline vows, anything like that. So you get the same kind of, depending on whether or not prayer brings you peace is up to how you see the character. But you see Alisea and Hazel on doing dawn prayers, and
Does Hazel look like she actually slept?
I
Yeah.
definitely got
yeah, whatever else one imagines that Palor can at least arrange for a nightmare-free sleep if necessary.
thank the gods. One in particular.
So yeah, Hazel does in fact look like she slept. Everyone does look like they've slept. You've got your full 8 hours.
Darvin's drinking his coffee, albeit slower
There's
than
a
I say.
there's a sort of drag feeling, which those of you who've been on this train or before knows indicates a slowdown.
Almost there, almost there, almost there.
Well, almost Gray's Inn.
Before we get there, I should let everyone know. So I got another visit last night, and she offered to speed our way somewhat. Apparently, we're supposed to, be polite and meet the person with the cart, since they'll have gone out of their way to get us, or whatever it is. But then I do something with this leaf, and apparently we go where we need to go.
Fucking Archfey. Sorry, but
You said it, not me.
yeah, but believe me, and so look, sometimes fucking whatever is good if frustrated. It's like, and to be fair, a part of it annoys me because that's manipulative as fuck. Actually,
Also-
looking up at the ceiling of the car. Do understand? Of course, you understand that's manipulative as fuck. You eldritch, bloody. Thank you, but still.
Also, where we need to go might be in their eyes might be different from where we believe we need to go. and I don't feel we can afford the setback of ending
Let
up
him,
She
let him,
also-
let him finish.
She
Let him.
also said letting us or what's the word I want to use? Facilitating us taking care of this would serve their interests. So I don't think we're going to end up, halfway around the world or anything like that.
Well, I mean, Darvin did say when he was giving his little recitation that this whole barony hearts thing, the Golden Dales is the heart of hearts. So if they're fighting against the whole Tiamat Black Sludge stuff, then it's definitely in their interest to have us there trying to protect things there, at least. So yeah, it would be in their interest to get us to there to find out what the fuck is going on as quickly as possible. But we should still ask around Gray's Inn before we do whatever you
gather
need.
information. Yeah.
Before you do whatever you need to do. You have to do something. I hope they were a little more specific than that. I also don't hope you don't have to eat it. That does not look tasty.
It looks well
You're
made.
closer than you think.
Oh, goody. It's fine. It's fine. I don't.
Not gonna ask.
None
Not my
of
business.
none of us understand the workings of the Archfey mind. It's like one step below trying to figure out gods or, my celestial dad. So fuck it. What?
Hazel. It's almost as bad as trying to figure out Baronsvere taxes.
I don't think she finds that funny.
Sorry.
Gonna shuffle closer to Darvin, hug him, and then just kind of deflect head onto the table. Thunk.
Ow!
No, not.
Not his, hers.
Oh.
I'm deflating.
Oh.
Hair
Dude.
going less.
Dude, really?
Glom.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Darvin. I know you meant well. It's all right.
And like face buried in hair, just like, just like face, like mouthful of hair. Okay, I earned that.
That gets a genuine giggle.
Hey, guys. I get this is rough and we're still gargling boot polish occasionally, but let's put some game faces on, okay? We gotta get our heads in the game as of now.
Yeah.
And then just sort of sidles over to Furseth, sits down next to him. You okay?
As good as I can be, all things considered.
It's gonna be okay. Somehow. We are going to make it be okay as we can make it. And anything that has made it less than okay in ways we can't fix, we will fucking avenge.
Here, here.
But again, we do that by getting heads in game. So this is the first time I've ever been out of Equitas. And I don't have time to be fucking nervous about it. Awesome! Actually, no, that's not strictly speaking too. I was in a really creepy other plane for like a few seconds. And again, thanks for that. Pointing at Frozeth. Just, no. So yeah, anything I need to know about local customs or shit?
Well, outside of the actual Gray's Inn of Gray's Inn, the folks around there are a little twitchy about anyone of less than very generic ancestry.
Oh, so Gray's Inn is full of racists.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, goody.
I mean, the
Well,
actual Gray's Inn that the place is named after proper is far less awful.
Isn't it run by halflings? Some of them originated from, like, Egriff and places.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay, so the capital is a bit more cosmopolitan, but every place else is racist as fuck, and I've never been so unhappy to be able to pass. I don't like thinking at least I can pass as human. I don't know what they're gonna think about this, though. Holds up the hair. This is not a natural hair color in your part of the world, is it?
Mm-mm. Goldendale at least just doesn't seem to care, with the exception of a certain gossip bitch.
Yeah, and it's if we have to be prepared for the fact that people with a mentality like yon gossipy bitch are running things right now.
And that seneschal didn't make things any better either. That's two people on a list.
Mm-hmm.
Eject from township at minimum.
Yeah, well, we don't know what we're gonna find when we get there, but if it's let's look at it this way. If it's calm, that's what we do. If it's not, we figure out what the not calm is and hope that getting rid of the not calm also involves getting rid of it.
Yep,
How's that sound?
that
Awesome.
sounds perfect.
Great. And
Yay.
that drag has continued, and you can actually feel a slight judder as the stops. Oh, looks like we're here. And yeah, out the window you can see, compared to what you've seen in Egref and places, it's a really provincial, really mostly wood sort of loading dock. You guys have seen it before. Darvin, Froseth, Remy, Hazel, you've seen it before.
Wow. You really appreciate the contrast coming back.
Wow!
Certainly shadier to Hydro, definitely.
Jeez!
Uh-huh.
This is primitive as hell.
And this is why seeing everything back over there had me vibrating.
And this is the cosmopolitan end of the country. Holy shit!
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe the term was podunk.
An entire country of podunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I used to not know, like,
You thought your Star Coast was hot shit.
yeah, well, yeah.
And
Yeah, I used to not know how bad it was until I saw what wasn't, and wow.
Faraday sort of pressed up against the window. Oh, it's so cute! They have actual torches! No, because we couldn't have torches at home. So we had drift globes.
too cold for torches?
Well, most of the buildings were made out of ice.
That would be problematic.
Yeah, I mean, we always had a stone outcropping where the cooking happened, sheltered off from the rest of it so it wouldn't melt the house. But mostly it was drift globes. It was Mom's job to maintain the community drift globes. It was great. Well,
Shiny.
sometimes you got situations where people forgot the activation word or things like that, and it was her job to make sure that they kept working and command word changed.
That's vitally important. That's amazing.
Okay,
Literally
who
shiny.
has an intelligence of 2 or above?
Um,
Nye doesn't count. He wasn't there for actually. Nye and Ava, you weren't there for that, so
Nope. And I have 0 anyway.
yeah.
Oh wait,
Darvin?
intelligence bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's your
hold on, let me-
modifier?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, your modifier
thought you
is
meant the
2.
stats.
You will probably recall that don't you have a drift globe that you don't have an activation word for? In Frosa's bag of holding? And if Faraday is as curious as she sounds, maybe she knows.
Faraday. So Drift Globe. Have I? I mean, I didn't know. Did we know that? Did we know that that's what that was called?
Yes.
Okay,
Clarity told you what it was called, but she didn't know the
that's
activation word.
that's right. She did say what it was called. I couldn't recall. But Drift Globe. You just Froseth. In your bag, we have one.
He'll reach in, think
Drift globe.
about it.
Yeah, and there's your little 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 globe.
I was wondering
Hand
what
sign.
you were referring to.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, okay. And you don't have an activation word for it?
No, unfortunately, our friend was able to tell us what it was, but she didn't have time to try to figure out what the word was.
Well, there's actually a reset function. You can because well, let's say you're in a family and one of them moves away and they want to steal the family's drift globe, and you don't want that to happen. So you change the activation word so that they can't use it, and the family that's supposed to own it can.
Or if you give it as a gift to someone else or something like that, or just
Well, you could
in general.
in that case you could just pass along the activation word.
Oh, that's true.
It's more of a fail safe for if somebody
Oh.
if somebody who knows the family steals it or
Uh,
or might steal it, you can change the word so that even if they took it away, they wouldn't know what the new word was.
Why would
Brilliant.
someone do that though?
Oh, people do all kinds of strange
Well,
things.
we did used to have the every once in a while we'd have some explorer or some folks from Dad was always complaining about this, but we had outcasts, I guess, from Cragvere living with us, and some people didn't entirely trust them because they were outcast for reasons, but we still wanted to give them homes. And anyway, can I see it, please?
Yeah.
Taps on various spots of it in a really quick, intricate kind of pattern, and says a word that in Draconic, it's an antiquated sort of Draconic, so it takes it. There's a feeling like even Darwin, with his helm of comprehend languages, is losing some nuance to it, but what Froseth knows specifically it translates to is the light of hope. And ching, it floats, lighting up.
Oh, it's amazing!
That's
You brilliant, amazing, amazing girl.
and that's it now because we can't see in the dark apart from Miss Hazel and Mr. Nye. So now you have a thing that lights up, and Flitty's
Thanks,
going,
Verona.
and doesn't mean I have to. It means I can concentrate on something else but dancing lights, if I have to. Okay. It says the word again, and it drops back into her hand. She hands it back to Froseth with that "Did I do good?" expression on her face.
Oh.
Out of character, I take 5 points of cute damage.
I know, right?
So can we go and see the cute
Yeah, we
place
should
where
get moving.
we apparently need to ask lots and lots of questions now? Are any of
Yep.
these the kind of questions that cute, if you don't mind, scales and teeth little girl might get decent answers about? Or is it something I stand back out of the way and like eat breakfast? Just so I know.
I don't know. It depends on the person, I guess.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
Well,
It's
let's
brilliant. Again, brilliant girl. You are.
Well,
Wow.
sometimes kids see things that adults don't, so I could just ask the kids.
That's
Can't
not
hurt
a
to
bad
try,
idea.
anyway.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Certainly can't hurt to try.
Remember what we said about common sense?
Asking questions for the win! Yay!
I think they both got that trait.
Yeah,
Actually, pointing at Proseth and Faraday.
I
Like,
just,
just
I just
flat
talk,
out.
I just talk more. Sorry.
Did we ever give her a necklace, by the way? Yes, we did.
No, you didn't. But
Yeah.
she's already sort of pottering for out. I'm gonna go follow her because
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
the first thing you notice when you get out of the unloading dock, as it were, is that the staff that were in. I mean, there's always been a sort of couple of staff in that area that were clearly uh security, but not particularly formal. Now they're in armor. Now they're wearing swords.
Oh boy.
um,
Well, is it unusual for the guard to be on?
Podunk, remember?
Yeah, but still security.
You're muted,
Right?
Ethan.
yeah, this is more than a bit overkill.
No, if there's trouble,
Mm.
seemingly getting closer.
No, I think they're ramping up their.
They don't seem to be giving you guys any trouble. Clearly, word has reached that you're supposed to be there.
Let's head up into
Um,
the rest of the space and get our gear on at least.
Yeah, the seneschal-looking gentleman is actually at the top of the stairs. Howdy, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Gray's Inn and Baronsvere. Pity it's under the circumstances.
Circumstances.
Y'all might want to be a little bit careful about. Basically, Gray's Inn as capital is sort of in open rebellion against the crown at the moment.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Huh.
We've missed a lot.
Oh,
Where best do we catch up, as it were?
well, y'all can ask some questions up in the tap room if. And there's a gentleman who was waiting for you, so yeah, y'all
Good.
might want to speak to him. He's sitting in the corner table over a plate of breakfast. He's kind of poking at, which ain't so much I'm hoping it ain't an indictment of our cuisine, anyhow. But dangerous times these days.
Hi.
Thank you.
Forewarned. Thank you.
And Paradise sort of tugs on the, well, more on his sleeve because Halfling and, I mean, Halfling adult, Dragonborn child, probably she's a tiny bit taller than he is. So, excuse me, sir. I don't know an awful lot about rebellions, but I want to make sure I don't say the judgmental thing to anyone up there because I don't want to offend anybody. But is the crown doing something wrong? Looks at her. Looks at Froseth for a minute, just begging your pardon, little miss, for my language, but the crown being worn by an asshole. So we ain't having no part of him. So he don't like that so much. So he sends in armies. Oh. Well, I'm sure that war gods favor the just. It's the little dragon tooth. Y'all go on and get some breakfast, little miss.
Darwin pulls out a little scrap of paper and like, war gods favor the just. I'm like,
And Alisaie's just, behold the power of cute.
Indeed.
It's
This
a
is why I
pretty.
said go for it. Or at least that I won't say no.
Hey, Hearthhome is pretty much a concentrated dose of that.
Yeah, well, let's find out how the lay of the land is and whoever's waiting for you up there. And since we're at approximately that time, and this is a great gap point, we will take our break now. We'll see you in 5 minutes to find out what the fuck is going on in Baronsvere right now. See you in 5 minutes. And we're back. We are currently in Gray's Inn and facing what may or may not be a siege. Or at the very least, some very armed local guards. Coming into the main tap room of the inn that has given Gray's Inn its name, Hazel, being very alert to anything that even remotely smacks of family, notes that in that corner that the seneschal gentleman indicated, there is a strapping half-orc, sort of shaggy, off-brown hair, poking at his breakfast. That would be Con.
The words beeline are extremely accurate here.
Looks up.
Boom.
Hayes! Hey!
And just immediate hug.
And just, he hugs back. Pat, pat, pat. I take it she knows this person.
Family. That's
Okay.
gone. Oh my. What do you.
Really knowledgeable, governor in a city strongly affiliated with this one. Arrangements may have been made. I don't know. So come on, let's go over to Guy poking in the general direction of breakfast. So, how'd the trip go? From Con. Hazel, while still hugging.
Messy, and probably not as much info as we would have liked. We probably should have gotten.
You're over explaining again, kiddo.
Yeah.
And actually just puts her in a chair. Poof.
Ugh. Everyone else will be better at sorting out the information than I.
Hey! Oh, hey, you got new folks.
Yeah, sorry, Con, Alice, Nye, Ava.
Hi. What happened? What happened to the wizard dude?
Uh, he's a better academician.
Okay, yeah, I don't think he'd do very well here. And yeah, okay.
Oh God, um, have you heard anything from home?
That's where I'm headed now, 'cause I haven't been by in the last, what was it, 3, 4 weeks, something like that. Anyway,
When did all this start?
uh,
Yeah, can you catch us up?
Please.
I'll tell you what I can, but I'm one guy with a peddler's wagon.
It's more than we got.
Well, I can't say exactly when it started, but the countryside's been a bit more crowded than I generally like, and so have the skies. I don't know what, but you've got big things that aren't. I mean, not big, huge, but at least horse size flying overhead formation. And Alice is just, oh, fuck. Is it
That's
too early to start
Wyvern
drinking?
Riders you were talking about?
Probably. It's too early to start drinking, isn't it? Fuck.
Mhm.
And there's also, sorry to make things worse, but there's been something bigger, one bigger, much bigger, over this general area. Uh, Large and white.
White.
Oh God, there's three of them.
Well, Froseth knows about this. They've been worried about Varidel for a while now. So I have no idea what the fuck, but on top of that, there's been armies. I'm assuming they're coming out of Black Crown, but I mean
Where are they going?
everywhere, from what I can tell. Cedar Grove's under military occupation by the Crown.
Oh God, I hope Dad's okay.
How is that okay? They
No,
put.
I said I hope Dad's okay.
Ah, okay. Sorry, you muttered, dude. Sorry.
Sorry, no, I just hope my father's okay. That's sorry.
Yeah. But no, the entire barony is basically under martial law right now. That seems to be what they're trying to do to graze in, but for a, I mean, okay, I know and you know, pointing at Hazel, that halflings are stubborn little fucks. No offense to Mama, but but you know, standing up against this kind of thing is not what most people expect to happen, and the sightings of Big White thing have only been in the last couple of days, so as far as I can tell, only a couple of people have really seen it, and one of them mostly delivers reports and doesn't like being seen by anyone but the governor.
I get the feeling that Gray's Inn probably has been putting up more of a fight than Black Crown was expecting.
Well, probably. I mean, again, it's. I guess they got ties to people that have more weapony shit than we do. I don't know. All I know is that I've been mostly left alone, but that's because I know how to take the side tracks and stay out of the way of the main roads if I have to. It's made actually peddling anything out of my little peddler wagon a complete bust for the last couple of weeks.
Did you say you hadn't heard from Hearthhome in 3 weeks or what?
Well, okay, let me break it down for you because obviously I'm not gossip worthy. I get it. I don't stay home much. I don't stop home much. I go around the country, me and my peddler wagon, and I sell things and I trade things and I bring stuff home whenever I get in that general area. Um, I I saw them when it was still, you know, tiefling and wizard and
Right.
where is Clarity anyway?
Oh, she stayed behind in Belarus to do some research.
What does Belarus just eat people?
As a
It
matter of
feels
fact,
like that sometimes.
she's
Staying
her and
with
Andromeda are
Andrew.
working for the same person.
Andrew? Really? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow. Old home week. Okay, yeah. Well, at least she's over
Well,
there and relatively safe. It's fine.
exactly. That's yeah. They're 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 looking out for each other.
Uh, looking
No,
after
no,
each other, huh?
no, I was asking because
Uh, given the last time we saw Andrea, was it didn't she turn into a bear again that last time we saw her?
She did what?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, she apparently has powers, and one of them involves bear.
Yeah,
She's a
she's
fucking druid.
yep.
Ah,
Have you heard anything of what kicked off all of this?
I don't know. I'm on the road. You hear all kinds of stuff, but none of
Mhm.
it's really indicative of why this started. I mean, it could just be. And some people were saying that they were doing another tax levy. This time for the end of the growing season rather than the start of the growing season, and some people took it amiss, and so they started the tax collector started getting a bit more word forceful. That'll do. About it, and
And then it
it snowballed.
Escalated.
from there.
And I don't know. There's all kinds of rumors, and I don't know how much of it I can. I mean, half of it sounds outlandish, and I didn't even get most
Oh,
of it. So
it might not be as outlandish as you think.
Joseph, do you have any idea when what you saw was? Was it like at the same time? Was
it
it
would have been
recent?
for DM thing. It would have been then.
At the same moment.
Yeah.
Do you want
Okay.
to tell him, Hazel? What maybe?
Wait, what? Wait, what? What's going on?
based on, well, a vision that Froseth had, he
Looks
can
over
look at.
it for a What?
He can scry on other places. Based on what he saw, they went for home.
And even Hazel has never heard this growl come out of Con. I need to go find someone to kick in the teeth.
Like, I'm just either not sure if I should hug him or not.
Ava's like, should I not sit?
I'm backing up and giving him some room to get out.
No, he's clearly trying to calm down. And it's just right. Alice actually is like, yeah, okay, dude. I believe me. I know the rage. Tamp it down. Lock it down. Use it. Yeah, yeah.
Keep it for when you need it.
And we're not talking small R rage here. Believe me, I recognize this.
Oh. Oh. He looks at Alice and goes, "Oh!" Looks at
Oh!
and goes, "Oh!"
I'm not seeing first, so I don't know what. I might have missed something.
No, looking at me at this point doesn't really matter all that much. It's just so the reference for those of you who are maybe a little slow at getting it is that's rage as in I would like to.
Oh.
As in, Khan's a barbarian.
At least he has class levels.
Not very many, believe me.
As far as home goes, we have a way of getting back.
We're not doing
Quicker.
it until we get some information and some
But-
food.
Right. I was just letting Khan know that we had means.
Is this gonna be some magic shit?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
But you'll be a lot quicker.
Yeah,
It's good.
I don't know what happens to my cart.
That's what I was wondering.
I think what's gonna happen is that I'm going to get everybody into the cart, and if the cart comes with us, great. If not, somebody owes me a fucking cart.
Fair.
Yep.
And because I haven't done it, and because it has to be done, reach it for Hazel. Tickle, 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 tickle.
And out of the chair.
Okay, I feel better now.
And Darvin is in tears because it's just all of everything that just released. So that he's laughing and crying and just.
Okay, from LSA. I'm gonna go order us some breakfast now.
Thank
you.
you. From the floor.
Musses Remy's hair a little bit as she heads up to the bar.
He eventually catches his breath and wheezily
Breathe,
Gling,
breathe.
gling your presentation to get.
While all of this has been going on, Farrad has actually found a bunch of kids, human and halfling and half elf, aged between about like 7 and 13, and is sitting with them and chatting.
Amazing.
Froseth, I love your sister.
She's amazing.
She's pretty awesome.
That was beautiful. That was out of character. That was perfect. I loved it. That was just beautiful.
Chill, Ethan, chill. Okay.
Sorry.
Assuming conversation is not as much a thing, Alisaie does return and pose most of you, with the exception of Ava, actually find moderately familiar. Her handling plates of that many plates with comparative ease, and just sets. It's mostly porridge, toast, sausage, and it's homey, but you've got used to a very different standard of fare since.
Just, I'm getting food into system. Need to be fueled. I have ceased to care what it is. I need fuel. I need to be able to help.
And there's comfort in familiarity, even if it's what it is.
Yeah, the main thing is that actually this is. I mean, you recall the food at this particular inn was a bit more Interesting. This seems to
Ah.
be siege rations kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know when the next lot of, fresh goods is coming in kind of thing.
Okay.
This is why we should be glad for the train, basically.
Yeah, until somebody figures out the whatever you, because you said you went down for a thing. You've got to imagine that somebody's going to find a way to shut that route down.
Well, they're probably going to have a bit of a hard time figuring out how to come up from down, given what else was down there.
Yeah, but these are people that are happy to take on an army.
Yep.
So I don't think whatever is lurking in the local Underdark is gonna deter something that's being run by that particular monarch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm saying it's probably going to take him a bit longer to shut it down than they're probably expecting,
Let's
if
hope.
they even figure it out.
I have a feeling that we should. I, if I were them, and I imagine they're smart halflings, they'll figure it out. That's gonna be something they want to watch. And didn't you have a friend down there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, hope she's okay.
Yeah. Uh, Given what else is going on, much as I would like to go check, we've
Well,
bigger chaos going
you
on.
could always ask, just as an aside.
Yeah.
Better than not.
GM, would I remember who to ask
Well, you
specifically
could
about?
ask the governor or the seneschal because, well, the governor is the one that was giving orders regarding their scout in the Undercity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the Underdark,
I
rather.
just didn't remember if we could ask the Seneschal or not. So.
Yeah, it's probably best to ask the governor directly, but you've got a line to him, so that shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah. Well, while eating, I'm gonna try and spot the Seneschal when there's a.
He's keeping an eye on the kids' table, mostly because the governor's son is one of those kids. So he's
Yeah.
nearby-ish.
I'm gonna see about asking to. Is anyone? Do we want to take the time to talk with the governor? Because
Yes.
I think we should probably
If they have the time.
I think we should probably split up a little bit because we've got a limited amount of time, a lot of us, and a lot of people around. Uh, Kid Silver over there's got the youth contingent handled, so let's hope she gets something. Um, who wants to actually talk to the governor? Because I figure one person talks to the governor because one person is going to take less time than all of us together because we tend to talk over each other and it's a mess. Everybody else spread out and get some information.
I'll take the governor thing, but can I take Ava with me because she's better at talking to
Yeah,
nobles
well,
than
the
I
thing
am?
is, you've already talked to him, so that shouldn't be a problem.
I mean, I can go with you if you want.
And
Yeah.
fine, but that means one less person getting information from around the rest of the tavern.
Yeah, I know. I see your point. I'll take care of the governor.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Hazel's talked to them before.
Alright.
It'll be
Sorry,
fine.
she's
They're
got that
probably the
she's got that
same,
halfling rapport thing.
Bingo. Exactly. That too.
Remy
Hell.
leans over to Hazel. Do we have a map of this part of the country?
You do not. You don't have a map of this country.
Try to get as much information, whatever the governor knows about what sort of army-shaped obstacles might be in our way. hopefully the governor of all people should have the most up-to-date information on what's in the
Hey,
region.
hey, Ree, remember expedited? Points at Nye. We might not have to deal with that. It's good to have the information, but just to say that's not as much a priority as where the army is actually moving and what the status is in other baronies.
Okay.
We should
That's fair.
know if we're popping into Baronsvere into Goldendale in a literal sense. We need to know if we're gonna land on top of an army.
Mm.
And I imagine Ava's probably gonna want to ask anyone who's been writing a lot recently what the state of things is in the barony of Cedar Grove.
Everyone else gonna be looking for miscellaneous information?
I'm gonna
Asking
talk.
him, yeah.
I'm gonna talk to the bar staff. I'm good at talking to bar staff.
All right, we have a plan.
I'm gonna
Let's
look here,
start
and
this.
I'm just looking around for anybody bard related.
Now we roll the hand of fate. Unfortunately, does not seem to be anyone particularly bard shaped, but there's young people that might potentially be receptive to. And of course, Furseth can just sit and lip read anyone they don't get. They don't get. So what I'm gonna do in this situation is ask for persuasion rolls for everyone but Hazel.
Good, I'm good in persuasion.
Except Furseth, because he's not literally talking to people.
No, he's just watching. Persuasion. Ah, that plus 3.
You're too
16.
You're too worried. I think is the.
Yeah, probably.
Remy?
Well, Remy was thinking between, depending on whether there's a temple of Tritherion nearby.
Not in this particular vicinity that you're aware of. You'd have to ask for one. But there are sufficient military-looking individuals that.
Or looking for military slash mercenary looking
There's
types.
if you look outside, there's actually and there's folks on the walls.
Mhm.
I mean, just if you scroll down, there's a really gigantic log wall, and the last time you came, the doors were wide open. Now they are shut.
Mhm.
So yeah, actually, we'll leave Remy's persuasion roll because there's somebody that if it's going on the walls, she will be able to talk to. But we'll start with Darvin gets a whole bunch of conflicting stories, but the one that stands out the most is that, from his perspective, is that apparently the Baron of Goldendale has taken ill. He's been ill for the last few days. And there's concerns about his long-term survival. Nye doesn't entirely know who to talk to, but just by sitting down and going, new in town, I've got no idea what the hell is going on. But
That's my whole life.
given his general forest-like appearance, he's finding out that the clans of high elves that border the border that live on the border between the Elvenwild and Cedar Grove are pulling back and away because of the military occupation, which means they're staying entirely out of it. And the military occupation of the barony of Cedar Grove is significant because according to the rumors he's hearing, the elven wild high elves have got a not insignificant fighting force. Ava unfortunately gets too many conflicting rumors, one way or another, up to and including one she really doesn't want to believe, which is that the entirety of Cedar Grove has burned to the ground. Furseth catches all of this, um, with the addition of that there has been a terrible lot of troop movement in and around the Goldendale area, which that this has come in through a scout that came in like yesterday. The military had been closing in around the barony of Goldendale, um, largely because they expected there to be issues with the taxes and they wanted to keep supply lines open between open between Black Crown and Goldendale and shut between Gray's Inn and Goldendale. And then apparently they taxed the bejesus out of the place, and then the Baron fell ill. So apparently the Seneschal is running things in the Baron's name for the time being, but some people have still managed to get a couple of baronial decrees that seem to be mitigating some of the bullshit. There has also been talk of investigations of the shrine in the Goldendale capital, uh, something about potential heretical worship, but they don't have any real details on that. Hazel, the Seneschal will escort you to a back office where the governor is sitting at his desk, which is a rather imposing thing, but it's just so covered in parchment right now that you can barely see the top of his head over the piles. He actually has to pick one up and stick it on top of another one, and it teeters kind of precariously. Ah, the young cleric of Paler. How'd you find Equitas? Bet you're wishing you stayed.
Actually, wishing more I could get my family over there. Because Goldendale.
I don't know if you'd have time to get there, collect them, and get them back. We've had to pull a lot of scout activity out of the Underdark, up to and including our mutual friend.
Oh, good, she's okay.
She's not liking her lot in life very much, I gotta say that, but been invaluable thus far. But there's been more than just the usual moving around down there. And I don't know how much longer our train line's gonna last. We're doing what we can, but at this point we may have to shut it down ourselves rather than having someone use it as a back door right into the inn. It's about the safest place you can have, and it's entirely possible that we're gonna have to have as much of the population as possible ushered in just to keep them safe.
Well, how, besides that, how much have you heard about the other baronies?
Well, most of it's in this paper pile somewhere, and I'm still trying to make heads or tails of exactly which reports are the ones I should be believing. But as a whole, the thing I can tell you with absolute certainty is that martial law is effectively spreading across the entire country. We haven't heard very much from Goldendale at all, mostly because we get our seed, our feed, our grain, and a lot of our foodstuffs from Goldendale, and it's in the interests of the invading force to shut our supply lines down. We figure there's going to be one more trip in our old rail car to get some supplies in to last us through the winter at minimum, and then we're gonna have to collapse the tunnel.
Uh, you, you wouldn't by any chance have a map or anything of the sort we could
Not
start?
I can, not that I can spare. I need it for. We've got one, and I need it for what we got. I'd suggest the shops in town, but you don't want to be on the streets right this point.
Things could come dropping out of the sky at any moment.
A thing or things, we don't know. Our long-range scouts have been talking about what sounds to me like an awfully big white dragon.
Mm.
But more than that, there's been formation at least 10 strong of what I reckon sound like wyverns. You add that to foot soldier force, most of which are blocking the roads at the minute while we got our gates closed. Mostly they're bivouacked out back, and we've got folks who've managed to slip in through various back doors we've set up, but we don't know how long we can keep those open either. We keep using them, someone's going to find them eventually.
Mm-hmm. Well, my group is going to try and head to Goldendale. We have a way there faster than usual.
Alright.
Is there anything you think we could try to do while there that would help you guys?
Honestly, I ain't got no clue. I think the only thing that can help us at this point is get that fucking king off the throne. If we had anyone to replace him with.
Uh, mm, um, the there is someone that we could replace him with. That person is across the rail line and
Technically
further out.
not. The person who is technically in line for the throne is the actual Baron of Goldendale. His replacement is
Well,
across the rails.
uh, that's if the that's if we can't make sure well Goldendale's Baron gets put back because
Put
he
back.
apparently
And it starts ruffling through some older bits of parchment. He's that Lankerhand? Really? Huh.
hmm
Well, let's hope the rumors of his illness and or death are greatly exaggerated then. As I've heard too many to be sure, and we can't send anyone reliable to check just now.
mm. Uh, thank you for getting us into well, thank you for getting us across the rail line in the first place.
That's all right. And I'm almost sorry. I don't really relish the idea of bringing anyone into this mess, but I mean, military occupation ain't exactly a picnic. Still, if y'all can do something about it, that'd be great.
We've got to start. We're gonna do what we can once we get to Goldendale.
Your breakfasts are on the house, by the way. Not like we can do anything with the money at this point, anyhow.
Understood. Out of character. GM, was there anything that I missed out of what I said I was going to?
Not that I know of.
Got it. All right.
Moving on, in which case, if that's the end of Hazel's discussion, to Remy on the walls with the military individuals. Some kind of dubious looking. Oop, who'd we lose?
Love them.
Few dubious looking soldier types point Remy to uh, the individual who appears to have taken over as their chief scout, who is standing on a corner of the wall, very heavily bundled up in a hooded cloak. It's quite cold, by the way, once you get outside. It's winter wear for everyone who's not, you know, used to it. Approaching, you looks over at you, and that would be Shinaira, the drow that you first met in the Underdark. Clearly not liking being out in the daylight very much. Oh, you came back.
Hi. Yes, we did.
You did not pick a very good time to come back.
Technically, no, but also technically, this is the time where we are needed here.
Well, yeah,
So,
look, points at, yeah, the place is under siege. There's a couple of squads that out between them outnumber the city guard. That's the best they can muster at this point. A good 2 to 1. And that's not counting what's overhead. I took
how
down.
long have they?
Sorry, go ahead.
How long have they been out there?
These guys, just a few days, but they were, they were making demands, and we had to shove a few of them out the gates, and they were clearly not just rowdy inn patrons, or so I'm told anyway. I wouldn't really know the difference. I know the difference with that.
It's the usual unconditional surrender.
Yeah, basically, as far as I can tell, they want all the money. They want access to the inn, which probably means they want the train, which we probably don't want them to have. And at this point, I think they're asking for the governor and all bloodline-related individuals for, what are the words? Summary execution. I don't understand why they're waiting until summer, but
Yeah.
they're, oh, it's a different common word that doesn't mean the season. Okay. Sorry, I don't talk to people. I've talked to people more in the last week than I have in like 50 years.
You're doing quite fine.
I'm trying, but I think the scariest part of the whole thing is the dragon.
Has it come close to the city?
Not really close yet, but close enough for us to see it, and close enough for it to be. Sometimes when I'm hunting, I'll keep an eye on something from a distance to see how it moves, what it does, and how best to get it when it's vulnerable, or just waiting for something. And when that condition's met is when I hit it. I don't know what conditions it's waiting for. I mean, not much about here has changed, I guess, except for you guys turning up.
Yeah. Has there been any word of the dragon attacking at all anywhere nearby?
I think there was some word. there's a plantation a couple of days ride that way. Points in the direction that you guys came in from when you first arrived. Not very far away. It's one of the good ones. It apparently uh, cavalry kinds of horses and racers and really good horses. And I know it's cold, but we're talking everything frozen cold. I don't know if they saved any of the anything, but it sounds to me like a dragon attack. If a white dragon wants something gone, it turns it into a frozen wasteland. And when we had a few people come in. I didn't talk to them, but a couple of ranch hands, and they were one of them managed to get here before they died of frostbite. The other one's still recovering.
Out of character, you said it's cold out as like middle of winter. Is there snow?
Uh, little patches. You know that late October, early November kind of. It's dusted a little bit, but not.
Okay. Okay. Also, does Remy know roughly how far away we are from Goldendale?
About a 10-day trip because I tend to go in days traveled rather than miles. Lots and lots and lots of miles. 10 days by cart, so.
Look, just tell the other guards to hold on tight. Like I know.
I'm not the world's
No.
most comforting well, I'm not the world's most comforting people person thing, but I can try.
They'll look to whoever is the most collected and whoever has the most skill
You do
in a
understand that
situation like
I've
this.
been living on my own in the Underdark for a very long time, and I don't think I'm entirely right in the brain, right? But I'll try.
That's all any of us can do, but I think the dragon's attention might turn elsewhere
At
soon
which
enough.
point there is a noise not too far in the distance, and that noise is a rather draconic, rather loud roar.
We hear it too, actually.
No, well, you do, because you're outside talking to guards. Anyone inside isn't, because it's good, solid walls. And Shinaira looks out to the north. Okay, if you're going, go. I have to go and get the archers together, because it doesn't do much, but it's something. Go!
Yep, Remy goes.
As she's climbing down from the wall, she just catches a glimpse before her head ducks below the level of the wall, and you see in the distance fairly large speck of white getting larger.
Did they ever see it from where she is, or is she
No, the walls are very high, but you do hear.
I know he's there.
You do hear a woman's voice, trying desperately to sound commanding and confident. Archers to the north!
That mean Remy's nearby?
Remy is probably sliding down the ladder, at which point you're
run
sort of
towards her.
across towards, yeah, so.
Remy's
towards her.
jogging back.
And Ava intercepts.
How far is he?
visible and closing, but
Shit, we have to get the others.
we're about to see if it's gonna commit.
Oh, I can hear him from here. He's close.
It's starting to sound like it's committing.
Okay,
Come on, we have to go grab the others.
Yeah, Remy starts running to find the others.
I chase with her.
But these two barge back into the inn.
Guys, out now! Scaly, come on! Get moving!
Faraday sort of kneeling on her chair, looking over the back. What's going on?
Remy looks for a local that looks like they're in charge of the people in the inn.
There's the seneschal by the young people's table. What in tarnation?
Remy, there was a voice of it. The dragon's been spotted coming from the north.
Oh. Shit. I'll take charge of him. If you got a way out, get. And it runs towards the bar, and Farida sort of pats over to Froseth, and who of course lip read that whole thing. There is a noise at that point, and it is... Now you can hear it within the inn, partially because the door is open. You also see a rather large burst of what those of you who've seen it recognize as frost breath.
Get down!
No, you guys are in. This is out.
Alright.
There is
Yeah, but
screaming,
the
however, from outside. And after that goes past, you do hear the voice that everyone but Nye and Ava recognize as Shinaira, and Ava just knows, whoever's commanding the archers. Anyone who's still up, it's coming back around!
What do we do?
Go! They said go, we go! We don't have a choice. We can't do anything right now.
Can't just abandon them? They're being slaughtered.
We have our own duties that we need to see to.
And
Oh.
they have...
Well,
Nye!
not enough, you can see that.
There
Nice-
is a
nice-
crunch noise. It sounds like part of the wall came down.
Got to at least try and drive it away for now.
Ava, I know, but what good are we gonna do for the country if we die here? We have to pick our battles.
And this is one we can't jump headfirst into.
Remember the Dracolich?
We'd get that all over again.
And this one's ready for us.
We're not ready for this. Let's go.
Nye, do your thing.
Now? Okay, huddle up.
I'm making sure if I'm already down. If I'm already down,
Yeah.
so I'm making sure.
Faraday with
Tom's-
us?
Yeah.
Where's she?
She's huddled up next to Froseth, trying to figure
I
out
look
what
around
the hell.
at the people. Sorry. I'll try and help another way.
Most of them have no clue what you're talking about. They're either running out to the field with swords, or you do get Shinaira in the doorway. She's looking in incredibly rough shape. Okay, we lost the archers. Do you have anything you can do not from here?
We're working on it?
I'm gesturing for her to come with us.
Well, she comes over because she doesn't entirely understand. She seems to think that you just can't hear her. Okay, no, sorry. Bit cold. Still not used to talking to people. What? And is Nye doing the...
Not half an inch. Not ready, but not there yet.
Something
No.
hits the in wall crunch.
We're gonna
Whatever
go.
you're gonna say it now,
go.
please.
I'm
And apparently Darvin.
Shove. I'm
In,
gonna push her back.
wait, what?
She needs to
Here.
help here.
There
He's
isn't.
dying.
Well, to be fair, there. Basically, Alice, if he shoves, Alice grabs. Everybody she could command is gone. We need some information from here.
Point. Okay.
She also grabs the little red-haired governor's son.
Oh, I see. I thought he ran off.
No, he was curious kids, and he was talking to Faraday.
Ah, okay.
Let's hope we can take all of these people now! As the wall starts to collapse, things go a little bit
Lord,
blurry.
accept my service.
Things go blurry and kind of off-green, and there's a slightly amused, slightly relieved Fernai. Took you long enough.
Had to save who we could.
There's a sense of being somewhat smiled at, and squelch. You guys have landed. Oh, sorry. What?
Out of character, Nye was seriously thinking about sticking his head out the window and trying to get off an eldritch blast, and then doing it.
Okay.
Perhaps with a "Hey, Mr. Dragon."
This time I'm going with it. Next time, if you
No.
have something you want to add as color, wait until the end of the session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, things go blurry and kind of off-green, and then squelch. You are standing by a bridge near to Goldendale town. Just sort of on the riverbank. Actually, everybody roll me a dex check.
Oh god.
Oh, crap.
A check, not a saving throw, right?
Actually, no, saving throw would probably be better, yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Christ.
Look at those. Come on.
Come on,
I
you...
fucking sticks in saving throw.
It's not...
I got a 6.
Oh, you're having internet problems, yeah, okay.
Internet issues, yeah.
Okay, so, Shanaira, the, governor's son, Darvin, Froseth, and Ava are on the bank. Alice, Remy, and Hazel are in the river. To various depths. Remy, thankfully, is only about up to her waist. Alice, because of where she was standing, is kind of having to... Because she fell over when she realized sort of up to about there in water and is now kind of doggy paddling a little bit. Hazel's about shoulder height in water.
Oh, that's cold.
Yeah, you get used to it.
Does anyone have any rope?
No, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. It's not
Remy
that far.
reaches for Hazel.
Come on.
I hold out hands, Alice, and... Alice and I and... Russia?
No, they're fine. They're on the bank. You guys are on the bank. It's
Who are
just
these people?
it's
Hazel and Alice.
Hazel, Alice, and Remy, who's
Alright.
didn't actually have time to put on her armor, so that's probably just as well.
I help the others out.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had a. I'm usually not wearing this many clothes when I do that. Prestidigitates the water out. No, seriously. It used to go swimming in the mornings and a lot colder than that, and it's not like I have, bathing clothes.
I'm checking our drow friend.
Shanaira's sort of
And
bundled
the
up
little
in further into her hood. Where are we? What just happened?
We're in Goldendale proper. That's how we were getting out. and I'm going to I'm gonna like hold my hand out to her.
Sort of reaches out very, very, very tentatively.
Oh, when I get a grasp on her, I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds at 3rd level.
Okay, roll for it. Well, clicky button, I guess.
Yeah, thank the gods for setting it to come out as an ability.
Yay
check
for clicky
thing.
buttons!
Yeah, I finally found that for what I was doing.
Yeah,
Yay for DMs willing to set them up.
yeah, when you, I mean, the great thing is with about 75% of the spells, because I'm a paid user, I can just drag and drop them in.
Uh-huh. And that
Oh, that's better.
that included my Disciple of Life. Good.
Yes, because I think I added that specifically.
Yes.
Oh, that's better. Thank you.
Is the governor's son hurt, or is he...
He's fine. He's confused, and he's like, and he's actually talking to Faraday and sort of a, what about mom and dad? Your mom and dad would have
Oh, boy.
needed you safe so that they could focus on keeping everybody else safe. I know, okay? I know that when your mom and your dad are too worried about you, they can't do the things they need to do. How do you know? I'll tell you some other time. Just, it'll be okay. Maybe not right this second, but it'll be okay. We got heroes.
Maybe just looks away, not feeling like a hero at all.
Alice sort of pats Ava on the back. I know. I didn't like it either. Don't mistake me. That was not easy. Come on, I'm the one who mouthed off to a Draco-Lich and look what happened.
I just hope we made the right choice.
And Ava, and Darwin motions to Ava to come over for a second.
Yeah.
For the record, this isn't my first time leaving people behind. Remember my mother? You're not alone. It doesn't get any easier, but we do.
You broke up right. You leaned on the fucking mute button. Sorry. Can you go back to that?
We do what we have to for the greater good. Yeah, people got hurt, but Alice said it. We're no good dead.
Right now, we have to think about the whole barony, and as self-serving as it sounds, what Darwin said when he told his story was that this is the absolute heart. If this place goes, nothing we did there would have mattered. We saved 2 lives, and that's more than we could have done if we'd stayed. Right now, we've got a choice. We go to town and see what's going on, and risk running into an army. Or we go to Hazel's farmstead and hopefully avoid whatever army patrols might be on the road and check in on the family. Who, if everybody's still there, means if everyone's still there, we've got one powerful wizard, one very good rogue, and whatever they might still have stored in that basement of theirs. If we have access to that, great. If we don't have access to that, we need to know. And we need to check up on if anyone there is okay.
I was going to suggest I could sneak to the entrance of town and see what it looks like, but I suppose we could start with half and come back.
Well,
Her mother's probably nowhere the Steel Singer is too.
We all know where the Steel Singer is. In the
I mean,
blacksmith shop?
well,
If they're still
that was
there.
before
Well,
an army
that's the other
arrived.
thing. Ava, if you want to sneak, and I mean really carefully, and that's the point at which we back off, because we cannot afford to get in your way.
No, I was going to go alone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them.
Okay.
Because we worry about you, remember? We care. And we don't relish the thought of what happens if someone spots you and they have malicious intent, etc., etc., etc. We don't like the idea of you being on your own against bad odds. We just came out of outnumbered in bad odds, and we were together then. We don't like the idea of leaving you alone to it, but some information might be good. It's up to you. We will be nervous as fuck about it.
No, I'm gonna be nervous too, but
How confident do you feel that you could get in and out without getting spotted?
well, depends how good their security is, but reasonably.
Isn't at least one person in that town, and we don't know who, a disguised green dragon of indeterminate age?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't they observant as shit?
That's what I
Mm-hmm.
said. There were 3 of them when we heard about the white one.
We already knew about the white one. Your memory is shit, dude. Froseth's been worried about it for like forever. That Varadel, wasn't it?
I was stuck on the green one. I'm sorry.
What do you think, Remy?
Learned about the white one about the same time we learned about the black one.
Mm.
And you learned about the
I'm-
green one later.
Mm-hmm.
We're better off sticking together. We'll see what happens once we reach the homestead.
Besides,
Yeah.
what happens if you don't like what you see?
What do you mean?
Well, we managed to pull a couple of people out of, I was going to say out of the fire, but that's a really stupid thing to say when it's a white dragon involved. But you know what I mean. That was all we could do, but we did something. I think all of us feel a need to do something
Mm.
in a situation like this. After a shakeup like that, whatever regroup we can do before we have to face a larger degree of worse. I mean, hell, we might as well get the more intimate potential worse over with. Because I know this doesn't mean as much for you or for Nye or for me, but this is home.
Yeah, I know.
At which point Flitty pipes up, I can be actually invisible. I need to
How
talk
about
to
that?
my brothers and sisters anyway. I can look. A fairy
Are you
dragon.
okay with that?
I do the things. If they don't like the nice dragons, I need to look. And I can be actually invisible, not just sneaking. I will meet you back at the house. Okay?
Okay, Flitty. Be careful.
Oh, yeah, be careful.
Best of luck.
Butts. Everybody on the... And
Darvin has to resist the urge to go because he's like, nope, but he's small.
and then just vanishes. Come on, we need to move.
Yeah, let's go.
It's a few miles of hike, not the full 4 miles from town, because you kind of weren't quite at the town limits. You could see it sort of in the distance, but not to any great degree. So it's a bit of a walk, and it's cold, and it's early winter now, and there's little patches of snow, but nothing that indicates that the dragon has been there. And of course, before you come into the actual Hearthhome farmstead, you come to the outskirts fields. And one day I'm gonna have to actually redo the Hearthhome map now that I've got better bits and pieces, because you're not quite there yet. But the fields are exactly as Froseth saw them. It's clear, particularly to those of you who are used to tracking, that a large body of individuals has walked through. The the first scarecrow you come across is actually the one that still looks like a paladin of Palor. It's just been knocked over and half trampled into the fields, which are being left fallow for the winter, so at least there's that. Further in, there's a second one, also been trampled partway into the half-frozen muck. This one has actually been given a similar wardrobe change to the last one. That one is, if you take a moment to investigate it, actually now made to resemble a paladin of Tritherion. The closest one is the one that is meant to look like a paladin of Bahamut, and it looks exactly as it did in Froseth's vision. And
I'm
as
keeping an eye out for signs of blood or fighting or.
a perception check from Ava, in which case, if you're keeping an eye.
Should I roll a bit better for once?
Nope.
Oh. Ugh.
Uh,
Some way I am.
which is kind of why you're too worried and stressing
Too
over
rattled,
the
yeah.
people you left behind and everything else, and you only really start paying proper attention to your surroundings when an arrow whizzes by about an inch from your nose, and which point you then hear a young person's voice, probably 12 or 13. Of pity's sake, Ramaz, stand down! Look at who she's with! Yeah, but they could be... this from because there's on one side there's various bits of trees, which are the local miniature apple orchard, where the apples from for Hazel's apple cranberry preserves, and then you get that same voice, which half of you recognize as Lissy going, "The half elf! Say something that only you would know!"
When I was really little, I ate way too many blueberry pies and got sick everywhere in the kitchen.
At which point, Ramos's voice going, "Yeah, it's Hazel. Are you absolutely... Who else would admit that? Okay, fine." And out of the tree comes Ramos and Lissy. Lissy is carrying what appears to be a kitchen knife. Ramos has a bow. Sorry, it's been a little bit rough the last little while. And Ramos runs up to Hazel and hug.
Yeah, return hug. Like, just looking more than a little frazzled now and kind of jittery.
Yeah, sorry, we've been running things as best we could and trying to keep an eye on things, but you're gonna want to be inside before we start, so don't give me that face.
Mm,
Come on, let's get inside. You've got so many new friends, and I hope we can actually handle all of this.
Come on, let's go.
For Ava and Nye, what you find is
Keep,
what?
I was going to say, just glance around one time to make sure there's no less savoury characters sneaking
Give me
around.
another perception check.
Hopefully better.
No, but you're just gonna have to hope that if there were unsavory characters, the kids would either the kids would have spotted them or they would have spotted the kids by that point.
True.
So for Ava and Nye, the first building that you come across beyond sort of a barn next to a pen full of livestock, including a couple of goats, is what is essentially a hobbit house. It's basically a hill with a little round door, little round windows.
That's adorable.
A little ways behind that is actually another hobbit house. Bit bigger. This one is apparent. This one stands where your outbuilding used to be. They apparently built it up proper as a proper home for you all before things got bad. But they go into the first one, and what you get is a single round room that encompasses kitchen area, dining table, and some mismatched, puffy, second-hand, much-loved furniture that they've clearly refinished, reupholstered everything themselves. This is a house that doesn't throw things away, ever. Corridors leading to left and right, probably bedrooms, and first thing that happens is out of nowhere, little 4-year-old gnome onto Darwin's calf. You came back, 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 you came back.
Oh, thank God! And I just grab him up and just boom. And I'm just basically slow. I'm like, it would almost be like I'm dancing. I'm just sort of twirling around the room at this point. I'm just so happy to see him. Oh, Evan, I missed you so much.
I missed you too. It's been scary.
I'm so sorry. It's been, yeah.
There are a fair few other kids in this, though some of you know there's not quite as many as there should be. Aside from Lissy, human, about 13, dishwater blonde hair, and Ramas, really handsome, dark-skinned, black-haired half-elf. There is another half-elf, a little bit younger than Ramas, really very dark skin, really puffy, black hair, very tight curls and fun buns. A very young half-orc girl. One gnome girl and one dwarven boy. And I think that's everybody. Oh, and a pixie who's sitting up in the little rafters going in Sylvan. Hello? You've been away a very long time, it feels like.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. You had places to be. Probably. Maybe. Unless it was just you were made of stupid again. But I don't think
Yeah.
that's right. You're made of stupid, but your hearts are in the right place. So that's okay. I think. You guys, and Lissy is just, you guys want to sit down and can we get some introductions? Because there's new people and it's been, I'm sorry, Actually, why am I sorry? I didn't shoot at you, Ramas. Sorry, I
It's
shot an
fine.
arrow at you.
It's fine. I should-
I'd rather you shoot arrows at strangers.
Yeah.
And at that moment, we were.
Well, some of you were. Lots of you were.
Well,
Where are your mothers?
That's what we're gonna deal with after introductions. Okay, let me point out. Mela, the very dark-skinned half elf with the fun buns. Dawn, the young half orc. Zana, the young gnome. Um, Oscar, the dwarf. I am Lissy, and that's Ramas.
and this is Evan.
Yeah. And up in the rafters is Jaloy, and Sunshine has been hiding for the last few days.
But Sunshine's okay, aside from the hiding.
Yeah, well, scared, but
Well,
it
yes,
doesn't
but
like I said, sit down. There's
yeah.
Does anybody want tea or something?
Uh,
I am not great at it, but at least don't burn water.
Where's Noop?
Still in your place.
Oh,
It's okay.
cool.
Look,
No.
look, we love Noop, but we've got a few bigger pressing concerns right now. You ask where
Everyone-
Noop is, and you don't ask about Candor or Skylar. And she actually chucks a dish towel at him and marches into the kitchen. Even the grumpy paladin asked about people before pets.
Can we?
Everyone, this is Ava and Nye, and I'm gesturing to each one.
And Alice,
And I didn't.
I'm actually looking at Colin because I'm pulling him out to the. Look who else we brought.
Gone! And we get Ramas going. Somebody approximating an adult. Thank the gods.
Hey, we're all adults.
Yeah, but you're adventurers. You don't stay.
Fair point.
And add a character real. Drow's name. Want to make sure
Shinira.
I'm pronouncing it right.
Shinira.
And this is Shinira. She's shyer than most. So sorry.
It's mostly in the hood. Beep. And the halfling redhead is just I'm Paul, by the way. No one asked me nothing about my name, like ever.
Hey, sorry about that.
Sorry.
No, it's
Been a
fine.
little bit
It's
hectic.
yeah, I guess that. And Lissy calmed down a little bit, is pouring tea, and as to what happened, and to answer your question, Miss Remy, things have been weird for a couple of weeks, but last week Skylar came down with a chest infection. She's picking winter berries. She's always doing the berries apparently, and so she had a bad cough and she had to go to bed. And while Mama and Mom have all the herbal remedies and everything, they weren't as good as the ones that the Lyra Lady Cleric has. So Mama went out to town to see what she could pick up, and while she was out, we had lots more guard type people, except in different armor. And there was this dragony looking thing, couple of them, and people were riding them, and they had spears and bows and arrows. And they said something about asking questions about the scarecrow, which I guess was the Bahamut one, and they insisted on searching the house. Mom wasn't thrilled, but given they could have started hurting people, they saw some of the drawings in Skylar's room and that nice bit of armor that just came a couple of days before, and they said she was a heretic and they were gonna take her away. And Mom got real upset, but before she could do anything, Keth punched one. So they started beating on him for a little while, and then um, Candor kind of got involved, and when one of them hit him, he kind of set the guy on fire, and they had the other ones had a couple of us, and long story short, they arrested Keth for inciting things, and Skylar and Candor for heresy, and Mom for being a bad mom, and then they were looking for Mama, and we had to say we didn't know where she was because we don't really, and she didn't come back, and maybe it's because it's not safe, or maybe because I don't know, but I know she wouldn't abandon us, so something's going on. But we thought about going looking for her, but nobody won't. We couldn't have done anything, I don't think. So it's been me and Ramesh trying to keep everything together, and I burn almost everything I cook.
Very sure your mother is looking for them.
Mm.
Is there a fort or anywhere
Well,
sturdy where they would be keeping people, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, we we don't have a whole lot of building, and if they had a real jail or anything, then no one's told us about it. I mean, we got told that the governor's house is really pithy, and maybe there's spots about it we don't know about. I mean, there's probably got to be a barracks or something, but we don't really know.
So you've all been here this whole time.
Uh-huh.
Okay. No, that's good. You need to stay here. Keep your heads down.
stay safe.
Town's
And,
probably a mess.
Probably.
we're gonna have to,
Get a closer look at town.
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
minimum, yeah,
We'll
and the
see what
Baron's
Fitzy can
place
tell us
too.
when we meet up with him.
No, their Flitty should be coming back here when they can.
Yeah.
I hope so. Sunshine had to make himself invisible and fly away because they apparently don't like fairy dragons very much.
Bad
Nothing
people
can
usually
handle
don't.
those dragons.
I'm sorry, it's not a great welcome home.
And I
Alright.
didn't.
It's
I'm
not your
sorry.
fault.
I was. I'm sorry. It's
You
been.
have nothing to
There's
be
been a
sorry
lot, and no, I mean when I. Never mind.
I know what he's talking about. I get it, but
No.
You have,
It,
you
I
have nothing to be sorry for. It's not your fault.
anyway, you all did good. You all did great. We may gonna have to kind of hold it together a little bit longer, but we're here, and
We can start helping as best we can.
yeah, I mean there are things going that are going to be done, but we needed to come here and at least find out what was going on. I am so relieved to see all of you.
I just wish there were more of us.
There will be. Some way, somehow, there will be. We'll all of us. You guys will have your part too, probably.
Well, first thing I guess we're gonna have to do is, Paul and Shiniru are gonna have to find spaces for them to sleep and stuff, and probably some clothes and things. But Zana, you can handle that. Uh-huh.
How are you on food? Do you have enough for a few more weeks?
Yeah, I mean, we're fine. We got everything set up for the winter months, and I mean, obviously it's mostly preserves like every year, but they haven't raided our various supply stocks anyway.
Let's
Good.
go that one. We're going to just go out all the time.
We're gonna be okay.
I'm looking around to see if Fairy has managed to poke her face into something. Faraday.
Yeah, say the one you didn't introduce to anybody.
Yeah,
She's
I was
I
trying
said
to
it,
think.
but people interrupted me.
well, yeah. So as Furseth is going, oh guys, there's also she's actually looking at the icebox. Oh, neat.
Uh oh. That don't. Please don't.
But
That's the cold box.
yeah, but that's cold runes. I should be okay.
Yeah, I still worry. I had a debacle with that once.
At which point Mouse is going, yeah, definitely Hazel.
Hazel, has there been really anything around here that you haven't had a debacle with at some point or another?
And in unison, about 6 of the kids, the sofa!
Point!
Anyway, you guys probably have the adulty stuff to be talking about, and we need to
Yeah.
get people to have houses, so you probably want to look at your new place anyway. So, if you want to come back when you've done talking, we'll have a lunch of things. We need to get some extra bits together with the lunch. This I can do this. This is fine. This is fine.
What do we have? What all do we have on hand?
Nothing that's gonna be. She clearly needs to do this.
I'll pull out butterscotch and let him run around with the kids play around with him a bit.
And like the half orc and Evan, puppy.
It's butterscotch. Have fun.
So with the younger kids playing with butterscotch and Con go going, I guess my wagon didn't come with me, but I'll help put together some lunch anyway.
Sorry.
You guys, as we are at a little past that time, in 2 weeks' time, we will return to see what was supposed to be a much nicer homecoming gift than the one that has happened thus far. So you can try to see what all you can actually do and how you can find out what town looks like right now. See you in 2 weeks, guys.